Hi there, welcome back. We're going to have a stint in the greenhouse today because if you've been watching my videos you can remember a few weeks ago, well about a month ago now, I planted some foxglove seeds, Excelsior mix and some white ones. I don't know the right term for them. They're one of my favourite plants in my garden because it's a mix between woodland and cottage, so it's quite shady, and I find that the tall pale flowers really stand out in it, whereas if they're shorter and darker you don't see them. Also I just love foxgloves because they're brilliant pollinators. If you watch a bee, it doesn't have very far to move from flower to flower all the way up the stem. It doesn't even have to fly from one plant to the other or one patch of plants to the other, so I love it for that. If you haven't seen the video, I plant all my seeds in pure vermiculite because I used to mix the vermiculite with compost to try and combat that damping off, and it got more and more vermiculite, and I thought, why am I bothering with any soil at all? And these foxglove seeds that I planted, within a week they were all up, so they've just been in my conservatory and that's the stage they're at now. Some people might say that's a bit early to be picking them out, but I do it this way. I've got so much to do that I need to just get them into a bit more soil now, and then they retain the water because they get such big roots in the vermiculite. I'll show you anyway when I pick them out. So the other thing that I'm going to do is, you might remember way back at the beginning of February when I started the channel, I showed you some geraniums which had flowered in my garden all last year, and excuse me, and then I kept some of them in my conservatory and they're all fine. The others I brought round to the greenhouse and they would have been fine had I left them alone. I potted them up in all brand new compost, and they were great, they were green, they just looked like the ones in my conservatory. And then in January I did a stupid thing and I gave them a good drink, and then the temperatures plummeted. I think it was about -6, and I lost them all, so I have been giving them a good chance to sort of recover. And I've got a yappy dog, haven't I? No. So that's what they looked like. I cut them down, and the test that my mother showed me to do was you snip down at the bottom. If you can see any green at all, then that plant's probably going to shoot away. It doesn't matter that it looks dead, the roots are alive. Geraniums, pelargoniums, they'll just shoot off, but these look dead. So I know that was brand new compost last November. So I'm not going to just, I mean, honestly, I don't want to show you round because I must have 30 geraniums that I managed to kill. They're everywhere. So that's probably 2 bags of compost. So all I'm going to do is tip the compost out. That's all new. And I'm going to use that to plant my foxgloves up in. I'm going to take the focus of the camera off me because this is much more interesting. So you can see that's the dead stump that I've got left. So I'll just put him in the compost. But this is all the lovely new peat-free compost that I bought, and all you have to do is have a quick look through for vine weevils, which are brilliant white, they would glow. If you get the odd plant that dies, you might think, is that a vine weevil? But when you've got tons and tons of them like this, it's such a shame. Oh, Anyway, never mind. onwards and upwards. I've got loads of geraniums alive in my conservatory, and I've taken hundreds of cuttings off them, so that's fine. And getting back to my point, this is the compost that I'm going to use to pot on my foxglove seeds, because unlike some seeds where, you know, you think, is it worth it? They're so high maintenance. Little foxglove seeds, they'll just look after themselves. So I've got a nice big tray here. Fill it full. I love growing foxgloves. Foxgloves and wallflowers. Also, you might know, if you've been watching, that this greenhouse was actually my late father-in-law's greenhouse, and he used to live around the corner to us, so that's where the greenhouse is still situated. So I'm constantly going back and forwards with my wheelbarrow. And quite a lot of the neighbours will find a little tray of some kind of plant with a label on their doorstep when they wake up in the morning. I don't even have to leave a note now, they just know it's from me. Some people don't like foxgloves at all because they do self-seed. I remember last year I was heading back round home with a wheelbarrow full of little foxglove plants. And there's a lovely neighbour lives along the road from my mother-in-law. He's a really lovely man. And he said, "Oh, have you got there, Diane?" I said, "Oh, foxgloves, would you like a tray?" And he sort of staggered back with his hand. He was going, "Oh, no, no," as if I'd tasered him. He said, "Oh, horrible things, self-seed all over the place." So I thought, right, you're not getting any more plants. He is lovely though. Very sweet. Just doesn't like foxgloves. Right, put the camera back down now. So I just make a little hole in the middle there. And just loosen a few. Pick out the biggest. And look, you see the length of the root on that. So these are definitely ready to be pricked out. It's such a nurturing thing to do, isn't it? Picking out your seedlings that you've germinated. Here, look at that. So I've already started pricking them out, like I said. So I've got them here, here, over there, and I've got them down here. Now I've put them in the shade here underneath the greenhouse staging, and that's fine for foxgloves because they are woodland plants. They do like it shady. I wouldn't suggest you do this with other little seedlings, but all these dead geraniums here, I'm going to empty out, wash the tray, and I'll fill this whole bench with foxglove seeds. Right, I've already made the first mistake because now I've taken the labels, the original labels out of these two. One is white, one is Excelsior mixed, which are all pale pinks and mauves. So it's going to be a lucky dip from now on. So important to label. So it's do as I say, not as I do. And if you're thinking, why on earth are you going so many foxgloves? Well, A, I like to share them around, but B, my garden's not big by a lot of people's standards, but to get maximum impact, I've learned you need lots and lots of the same plant sort of repeated through the borders. So I'll plant hundreds of foxgloves this year to get a display next year, and then once you've sort of done them 2 years in rotation, they just self-seed themselves. Having said that, when I was cleaning my paving out in the back garden, I expected, because that's very sandy, the soil around there, and I was expecting to find loads of foxglove seeds, so I had my little trug ready to save them and put them on. There wasn't a single one, so I don't know what was going on there. So yes, I love planting seeds, I love growing them on, I love everything about it, pricking them out, watering them, letting them grow into nice healthy little plants, and then planting them out in the garden. And then it's the anticipation, isn't it, of next year. Oh, it's going to look gorgeous. And well, even if you could afford to buy hundreds of plants at a garden centre or a nursery, I wouldn't, because of the carbon footprint. So this is the most economical way of doing it. I'm reusing this soil to grow them on. Like I say, that is with foxgloves, which are very hardy. Some little seedlings which need cosseting would probably faint at the very idea, as would a lot of gardeners. But that's how I do it anyway. And when you're planting thousands of seeds, I think I planted 3,000 foxglove seeds according to the packet. It doesn't matter if you lose a few, but I always try and go for 100%. Just lovely being in the greenhouse. It's so quiet around here compared to my house, which is on the main road, and this is only one street away back. It's parallel with the main road. Barely hear the traffic here. To be truthful though, I didn't even notice the traffic in my garden until I started making videos. Gosh, didn't realise it was that noisy. You just become accustomed to it, don't you? If I had to stab a guess, I would say these are the Excelsior. So they've got a slightly different little leaf to the ones I'm used to, the white ones. They look so sweet. Right, see you shortly. So these seeds are considerably bigger, and these are geraniums, which I always find them quite tricky to germinate, but anyway, these, I have got a few out the packet. And what I would say is, if you've got time to let these just stay a bit longer in the vermiculite, in the seed tray, then that's great. But if for any reason you're going away, or you know you're not going to be able to get around to the greenhouse and look after the seedlings, then the best thing to do is get them into a much bigger seed, well, I don't know, module, seedling module. So I know that I'm going to have to go away for a couple of weeks, and I can't ask my husband to look after these. He's got enough to do. Plus he has no interest, and he wouldn't have a clue what he was doing. So yeah, I need to get these out, and I'm going to put them in the cold frame, because if I went away and left these for 2 weeks in the greenhouse, one day in the blazing sun, the soil would dry out. They would definitely die, I can guarantee that. And I would worry about them all the time I was away. So, right. See the great root runs they've got on them. So yeah, I would definitely have left them a little bit longer in this vermiculite. And what I'll do with this vermiculite that we're in, I will make sure it's soaking wet. I'll put that in the cold frame with them, and I bet you when I get back, I've got some more seedlings that have germinated. So never just let your vermiculite dry out, give it a good go. Right, so now I've got a watering can of tap water. You don't use water out of your water butt for young seedlings, because they need it to be pure. Once they're grown, it's absolutely fine. So there's today's pricking out. These are all the ones at the back of what I've done today, and these little ones here, these are what I did a couple of days ago, and look how big they've grown already. Those are my geraniums, and these are Campanula cup and saucer. That's a weed. It's snuck into there. Right, he's coming out. So again, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying my channel. Thanks for joining me in this slightly overcast day in the greenhouse, but it's been lovely. Really enjoyed myself, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. So bye bye, take care till next time.